Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are once again live down here in the Bear Cave Studios for another episode of the Sports Frenzy Podcast, The Frenzy. With me, your host, Freddie Aloso, with my co-host, Joey the Eagle. What's going on, Joe?
Well, I can tell you this, I'm having a much better morning than Antonio Brown is.
I think everybody's having a better morning than Antonio Brown right now.
Preach.
He's had a rough 24? I'd say.
You talking about 24 months or you talking about 24 hours?
Well, at least for now, right?
That is self-sabotage at its finest. And I think the funniest thing about all this is Roethlisberger must be sitting back laughing because originally there was a lot of people that were siding with Antonio Brown, or at least a lot more than are now, as far as understanding his point of view of the Steelers not holding Ben Roethlisberger responsible for, I guess, kind of how he runs the locker room, so to speak.
Right.
But I mean, at this point, you gotta look back at the situation and say, okay, probably was mostly Antonio Brown's fault.
Yeah, the dude just seemed like a cancer from the jump, and now it's just coming out more and more that it's just getting worse.
Actually, I was talking about this the other day. Like, these accusations aren't from last month, 2 months ago, 3 months ago. Like, these are years in the making. So for me, it's just kind of all the skeletons coming out of his closet.
Right.
And originally, you can't think of a logical outcome with somebody who does illogical things. So I could never at first I said, okay, cool, he's trying to force his way out of the Oakland. He didn't want to be in Oakland. He's trying to land in a position that, they can win immediately. You weren't sure if it was going to work out in Oakland. So when he ended up with New England, I said, all right, cool. He got his way. Even though some of those allegations that came out were already there, I said, all right, he's probably going to be a good soldier now. Show up, do his thing. And you could kind of see that the writing was on the wall once Belichick had his last sort of press conference where these new allegations of him, I don't know, sending group text messages to the woman that tried to dime him out at SI, but she's not even trying to sue him yet. I'm sure now.
Now I'm sure some legal defense got to her and she's...
Yeah. I'm sure her lawyer right now is like, bro. So at the end of the day, I just don't understand what his motive is. It's not to play football, clearly.
Right.
It's not for money because he went from 30 mil guaranteed this year to I think 150 grand on the year.
He went from 30 to 9 to 5 and now 158,000.
Exactly. So I don't know what's going on with that dude, man. I mean, it's funny because you think of a lot of players that come out and they're highly touted and they've got yes people all around them. But when you look at where he started his career, I know he was in a hotbed, as far as being in Southern Florida in high school. But It's not like he came out and went to the Alabama, went to the Clemson, went to a powerhouse college football team. He wasn't even drafted high, So this to me is just somebody that had a chip on their shoulder. But once he became that dude in Pittsburgh, I think he just kind of lost perspective on where he came from, what it took to get where he is. And it's a shame because he had an opportunity to go down as the best wide receiver in his generation. No doubt about it, Hall of Famer. And he might have not been known at the end of the day as the most naturally gifted receiver. Like, you don't look at him like a Randy Moss where you're like, oh my God, the dude's a genetic freak. Right? But at the end of the day, if he was able to continue on the path that he was on with the numbers, he would have went down, arguably top 5 and top 3 in every statistical category, to the point where you would have been like, all right, cool. You might have not looked at him and said, yo, he's a 6'5" monster or runs a 4.2 or is super shifty. But as far as complete wide receivers, he was one of, if not the best to ever lace him up. And he screwed all that up.
Yeah. Now, the classic line from A Bronx Tale, there's nothing worse than wasted talent. And that's Antonio Brown in a nutshell.
Yeah, man. I don't think I've ever seen someone's fall from grace happen quite so fast.
Right.
Like, I know people can point to, obviously, more serious cases like Aaron Hernandez, but he's clearly not listening to any of his representatives. I feel bad. I'm surprised Drew Rosenhaus hasn't already bailed.
Dropped him yet? Yeah.
Yeah, he's coming out trying to save face, saying he expects him to play with a team soon. But what team is gonna pick that up? Because
Now,
normally New England is the last chance. You is what
yeah,
New England.
basically.
You know what I'm saying? You go there when you're out of options because they're known to be able to take these players that are quote unquote reclamation projects and then turn them into good. Most of them are good football players, but good on and off the field.
Now, the question's always going to come up now. XFL. Will that be an option once,
Bro, listen, with all the legal allegations that he's going through, I don't think a league that's just starting is going to even want to deal with that.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Like, that's a lot to deal with for any organization, let alone one that isn't exactly well known yet. I know everyone knows the XFL from what it was, but they're trying to come out, market themselves differently. So right. I just think he's too hot to touch right now, bro. I don't think anybody's gonna want to deal with that.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough, man. But we jumped right into it, basically. Right into the Antonio Brown. All right, it's all good.
I got things to run to today, so I'm trying to, hit it and quit it and get up out of here.
We had the Tyson Fury fight last weekend.
Yeah,
he came out victorious. A little dicey there because he got that big cut on his forehead or kind of right by his eye. His corner originally thought it was a headbutt, but it wound up being a clean punch. And had the ref stopped it, it would have gone as like either a no contest or to the cards, and he could have gotten screwed out of that. Is it time for these guys to stop taking these in-betweener fights?
No.
And fight?
I don't think so. In fact, I feel like... how do I say this? I'm tired of boxers waiting to fight 2 years to get the guy they want. You know what I'm saying? Right. You got to stay somewhat active.
Right.
And I think this is why a lot of people still lean on the heavyweight division and get excited more for heavyweight fights than any other division, because you can be a huge underdog, but at that size, at that weight, all it takes is one punch.
100%. One clean shot.
And ask Anthony Joshua how that goes.
That's very true. Ask Mike Tyson. It happened to him too.
Exactly. So what I think is Tyson, if you heard the way he was talking before the fight, he said he wanted a war. He said he wanted to get a lot of good rounds in. Now, I'm not saying he planned the cut, obviously, but what I am saying is I think he went in there, yes, to win the fight, but I don't think he was looking to step on that guy's neck from onset. And I think you could see that just based off of the way he changed his fighting style once he saw, oh, shoot, that cut is deep, and if I don't start getting it going, the ref might end this fight. It's risky to do.
Yeah.
But I just can only go by off of what I saw and what he said before the fight, and that is he wanted it to be, again, a war. He wanted to go deep into the rounds, and I think he got exactly what he was looking for. 55 stitches later.
Yeah, right across that.
It was pretty disgusting, but I mean, shout out to the opponent he was fighting for showing up and putting on a good show as well, because he got a chin, bro, because he took some punches after that. After he cut Tyson Fury and Fury started landing, once he started earmuffing and Tyson Fury was throwing that uppercut through the middle.
Right.
He blasted him a few times on that chin, and dude just kept going. So overall, a good fight. He did what he was supposed to do. He got the win. So you just got to hope that everyone else holds their end of the bargain. Deontay Wilder has to get through his fight. And once that happens, we'll get our rematch that we've been waiting for.
Yeah. It's going to be good, man. Then we also had UFC last weekend down. There's also a UFC today in Mexico City.
That's what I'm saying, man. I can't keep up with all
They're not huge fights. Like last week was a good fight. The main event was Cowboy versus Justin Gaethje. So the main event was dope. Justin Gaethje did his thing and knocked out Cowboy in the first round.
Listen, I was wrong on the prediction, but did I not say that was probably what's going to happen when you get two guys that are known for just slugging? You run that risk, man, of an early night, put it on snooze.
The crazy one was, I don't know if you saw it, but it was Michelle Pereira versus the hometown kid. His name is escaping me right now, but he came out. He took like 6 minutes to get to the ring. He's dancing. He's doing all this bullshit. He gets in the ring in the first round. He starts doing all this capoeira. You know, shout out to the old school Only the Strong movie, because that's what it looked like. He's doing these backflips, and halfway through the first round, he starts getting gassed. And then he started catching an ass whooping.
Yeah, that's when keeping it real goes wrong, dude.
Yep, 100%. And that was a wrap. He came in 2 pounds overweight, so didn't get his money. The other dude got fight of the night, so took the whole 100K that they normally split between fighters. And because he didn't make weight, he lost it. So shout out to the hometown kid who won that fight.
Yeah, and when I saw his fighting style, you know what I thought of, dude? Do you remember? You know who Eddie Gordo is?
Yep.
I thought of Tekken, dude. That's exactly what I thought of when I saw. 100%. I was like, dude.
I felt like he was gonna. I don't know if you remember Only the Strong from back in the day.
Nah, don't age yourself, man.
I know not movie. That was the joint. But we also Yankees clinched the AL East championship. The Braves also clinched the NL East. The Dodgers clinched their division. Some other divisions we're still waiting for. But we also had Domingo Germán from the Yankees. Bro. What an idiot.
Yeah, I mean, you have to think, we don't know the exact story that came out. I know there was 2 stories that were reported, both of them very different from one another by 2 reputable sources. But for the Yankees to basically ban him from the clubhouse, you have to think that they know what happened. Right. And I'm sure it'll come out. It's only a matter of time. But he's getting what he deserves, man. You can't be putting your hands on, especially on a female. You know, I don't care if it's in private. I don't care if it's public. That's just something that you can't do.
You can't do it.
So,
you can't.
Nah, so, and it's crazy because you kind of see, I'm a fanatic. I am. Like, I love sports. I love my team. But so many people need to try and put things, you got to understand that at the end of the day, it is just a game.
Right.
So when I hear a lot of these people calling in, like there was a couple people on the Michael K show that were disappointed he wasn't in the clubhouse being able to celebrate with the team because, you know, he was a big contributor into that pennant race. And I'm just like staring at the radio like, are you kidding me?
Like no one's going to think, oh, hey, maybe we'll think about his wife who...
I think it was his girlfriend, but that doesn't matter. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, still, either way, like... Let's take his side because he's an athlete. Like, come on.
Yeah, I think
we're all human. We all know right from wrong.
But that's more of like a societal issue, right? Because once Tyreek Hill didn't get suspended from the NFL, all is good, right? People are starting to still rock the Hill jerseys. They're still supporting him, and Kansas City backs him up. And I know they put some legal ramifications or litigations in his contract, but they still gave him a sizable extension, and he just got to keep his nose clean.
Right.
Again, you got Antonio Brown going through the same thing right now. So I just wish people would kind of remember at the end of the day that while I love and I support my team, there's just certain players, man, and certain things that they do that I just can't support. I can't back up. I would never want a Tyreek Hill on my team. I don't care if it costs me a Super Bowl. I would never want an Antonio Brown on my team.
Right.
And we'll see what happens with this whole Yankee situation, but he deserves everything he gets.
Yeah, 100%. I completely agree. He gets banned for a year. Good. I think it probably should be longer because, come on, man, like, you can't be doing that.
At the end of the day, it's not the crime you commit. It's the money you have to fund it.
Yep.
There's a lot of things that these athletes get away with that they do that if me or you did, we'd be locked up for a long
time. Yep.
You know, so it's unfortunate. I do think that the leagues kind of get a bad rap because negativity, drama, that's what sells, right?
Yeah, 100%.
If you hear that, if you hear a player went, and I know they highlighted it with DeAndre Hopkins, But he recently went and took, like, I think it was, I forgot the number of kids, but he took them out, $200 shopping spree, got them some shoes and clothes and stuff, which is dope. But you'll hear about that, but that's not a leading story,
Right.
you know. But if he, and I'm not even going to use him because I don't want to associate him with anything like
With
that.
anything negative, right?
Yeah, but if a player goes out and does something negative, then that's, on the cover of all the newspapers. And I feel like it gives a lot of people that are fair weather fans or people that don't necessarily pay attention to the sport other than what's reported in the headlines.
Right.
They're like, oh, all these football players do is beat on women. All these basketball players do is X, Y, and Z. And they got to understand that those are few and far between. A lot of those are outliers. There still is a lot of good people within the league that are doing a lot of good within their communities. They just don't feel the need to publicize it every single time they do something.
Right. It's true, man. It's 100% true. People will look for the negative always over the positive. But with that being said, our bread and butter, our precious, in the words of Gollum, NFL. We got tons of news to get to, so that's why we're jumping into it early today.
Yo, we better start ripping it because I'm out in 25 minutes. You got 25 minutes, you are on the clock.
There is so much to get to, so let's jump into it. Coming out of last week, Jalen Ramsey requested trade.
He gonna look good in Kelly Green.
We'll get to that. I don't know if it's gonna be Kelly Green or a nice red.
It ain't gonna be Buffalo Red.
It's not gonna be Buffalo Red. I'm not even delusional about that. Eli Manning no longer the starting quarterback in New York. Daniel Jones has assumed the job.
You're on the third and you got the second finger up. Well, you're confusing me. There
3,
we go.
4.
There we go. Okay, continue.
There we go. I'm not throwing up gang signs. I'm just figuring it out.
No, you're not. We don't promote that stuff.
So, AB news, which we got to already. Big matchups this week coming up.
I'm actually surprised.
We'll get
Some
to
of the
the
games
picks.
on the 1 o'clock hour are looking really good, and I don't know how they didn't get to the 4 o'clock time frame, a la the Chiefs and Ravens. But continue.
Yeah, that's going to be a solid matchup.
Yeah,
we also have, man, so much news. All the quarterbacks going down this week. Breeze.
Changing of the guard.
Breeze, Roethlisberger. Trevor Siemian also got hurt. So I don't know if you guys saw that, but that got snapped.
Yeah,
Joe didn't see it. I texted him when it happened.
I turned away. I'm not going to lie. I don't do well with paper cuts, let alone. I just saw, dude, I didn't even have to see the ankle. If you zoom in on his face when it happened,
you knew
when
it was.
You get a serious injury, you look almost shell-shocked. Like, oh, snap. What was literally.
Yeah,
no
literal snap. Yeah.
What was that? So when I saw that face, I said, nah, I'm good. I don't need to see the replay.
See, now, you won't watch that, but you'll take a pin to your thumb. And you'll let.
Why we got to get personal, bro? I jammed
I'm just
my
saying,
finger
man.
in a door, and it had to be relieved. We're not. This ain't an episode of Grey's Anatomy. Continue.
So we had that. Still some injuries to report as well. So, Jalen Ramsey, where do you think he winds up? Because a lot of people saying that they will not be surprised if he's on a new team by either late today or tomorrow morning.
I think the team that makes the most sense, unbiased,
Right.
is the Chiefs.
I agree.
If he ends up on the Chiefs, I like road trips. They can just send me the trophy and I will drive it to them, save them some airfare, save them some time, and they can hang it up now.
Right.
But I do think it's going to be an interesting trade because you've got a player like Jadeveon Clowney who inflated the market so much. I mean, they got such a big haul for him that I think it set unfair expectations on the Jaguars side. You also hear that the owner came out and said, listen, I know you requested a trade. Let's see if we could work this out. We'll make you the highest paid corner.
Right.
At the end of the day, money talks.
Right.
So I don't know what Jalen's motives are or how uh, deeply he feels. I mean, you figure if he comes out publicly and says he wants to trade, that he pretty much made up his mind. But I don't know what was done for him to come to that conclusion.
Right. And in his words, he said some very disrespectful things were said, and with that, I'm done. I'm out. Like
Yeah,
the relationship can't be fixed.
yeah, so you have to think, man, and he came out, we spoke about it when it first happened. I didn't really think the owner saying that we're going to make you the highest paid corner was really news.
Right.
Because wherever he goes, as long as he's healthy, knock on wood, he's going to get that money.
Yeah, he's going to be the highest paid corner regardless.
Yeah, so it really doesn't matter where he goes. Like I said, it's interesting because normally you don't get a player of his caliber as a on the trade wire. So there's so many teams that are, and it's been reported. I mean, everyone made a call on him. Literally, everyone made a call on him to see what they want. Supposedly, there was an article that came out yesterday that the Jags, after seeing what they could get back for him, were more willing to hold on to him.
Right.
But you have to imagine that if Jalen wants out, he's going to make it very hard for them to keep him around that locker room.
100%.
So I'm interested to see what they give up for him. Any team that gets him, as long as they play him correctly, as far as allowing, he's going to do great in any system. But when you have a corner that is that good, that is one of the few. I know a lot of people throw out, oh, he's a lockdown corner. Oh, he's a lockdown corner. To be honest, there's maybe 2 or 3 in the league at most that you can say, all right, this guy's a lockdown corner. We're going to put him on press man coverage, lock him up. DeAndre Hopkins, 4 catches for 55 yards. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and he's played in every single career game. He's played, I think he's 51 for 51. So he's an amazing player, and whoever ends up getting him is I mean, he's the type of player that will transform your defense. If your pass rush is maybe not as good, the way to help that pass rush out is to make sure that the corners are locking up and allowing that extra time for the pass rush to get there. If your pass rush is really good, then guess what? That back end having Jalen Ramsey there is going to give, the pass rush the time it needs to get home and finally finally contribute those quarterback hits and rushes into sacks. So I'll be interested to see where he goes, man. I would love to see him in an Eagles jersey. We'll see how that plays out, but we got a nice little home for him over there. He can he can go back to playing with his Florida State boy Ronald Darby. Darby still got his Jalen Ramsey jersey from London still hung up in his locker room.
That's crazy.
We got another Florida State guy for him to reconnect with in Nigel Bradham. So I don't know, man.
Man, it'll be, whether it's the Chiefs, Eagles, or even Baltimore. If he goes to Baltimore,
yeah, if he goes to Baltimore, man, that's something serious because they don't have Jimmy Smith back yet, and they still have a defense that's flying around. And you got to give a credit to the Baltimore Ravens staff because there was a lot of players that got plucked out from their system. You got Suggs gone, you got Smith gone,
C.J. Mosley.
Yeah. C.J. Mosley with the Jets. So a lot of star players left, dude, and they're kind of like the Chiefs on offense. I know they've been doing it for a lot longer.
Right.
But what I mean is Tyreek Hill's gone. Chiefs still put up points. Damian Williams going to be out this week. They're still going to put up points. They're just their defense, their scheme, and the players. I mean, imagine a secondary where it's Earl Thomas, Jimmy Smith, Jalen Ramsey. I mean, good luck completing a pass on that.
Yeah. It's gonna be very interesting to see where Jalen falls, and I hope we get some news. And if we do get some news this weekend, we'll post about it on the Frenzy pages. So stay tuned to that. Changing to the guard. Eli Manning now out. Daniel Jones is in. Does the kid have what it takes? I know there's going to be a lot of growing pains and. We got a small sample size during preseason. He showed up. It's going to take a bit.
Preseason.
Yeah, no, preseason 100%. He wasn't seeing
starts, but
he wasn't seeing a lot of, disguised coverages and all that stuff. So he's going to get his hands full this weekend.
I think the biggest thing that he's going to have to deal with, and I forgot which show I was watching that was illustrating it well by using the timer. A lot of his preseason dropbacks,
Right.
he had 4, 5, 6 seconds to complete a pass.
Right.
Guess what? That's gone.
You got
Yeah,
1.5 maybe to get it out.
that don't exist no more. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see. I think his athleticism compared to Eli's is definitely going to help him extend plays. I think my biggest not issue with him, but issue with the Giants is he really doesn't have a lot of weapons right now.
Yeah.
I know obviously he's got Saquon Barkley, but I think when Golden Tate comes back, that'll be a big help for him.
Right. Ingram, you got Saquon and Ingram right now because Shepard, Tate,
Yeah, exactly.
they're all out.
So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see. I think it had to be done. I don't
Right.
think the Giants were really going anywhere with Eli. And if you look at the teams that have been able to take advantage of rookie quarterbacks, as far as having a quarterback that plays at an MVP, and I'm not saying he is going to. I'm saying the thought behind it is if you can
Right.
get him to somewhere like an MVP level and still have him on a rookie deal, you will have enough money in free agency to build a super team around him, so
Right.
to speak. And the only way you're going to know if you made the right pick is by putting him in there.
Yep.
You know,
And you got to
throwing
ride
him
with
to
them.
the wolves.
Same thing you did with Eli back in the day.
Yeah, the biggest asset to any team is a star quarterback on a rookie contract. You saw it with the Seahawks before they had to give him the big payday.
With you guys.
Yeah, you saw it a little bit with the Eagles. Even though I know Wentz had a few injuries, but before they had to had to pay him. You're seeing it right now with Dallas, and that's the reason why they're in the issue they're in is because they did a really good job drafting with the Vander Esch, Jalen Smith, Elliott, Prescott. The trade for Amari Cooper looks to be working out great for them. But now they got to pay their quarterback, so someone got to go.
Someone's going to be the odd man out, and we'll see what happens there. Breeze, Roethlisberger, both out for an extended period of time. Breeze, I hear 6 to 8 weeks. Roethlisberger, there's no definite time season basically, so he's done. What happens now? You got Teddy Bridgewater in Breeze's spot or Hill. They haven't come to a complete decision on that yet. And Roethlisberger, you got Mason Rudolph. So it's a bit of a change into the guard now.
I think this is a bigger deal for the Saints than it is for the Steelers, in my opinion.
Right.
Because of the expectations that the Saints had. They were definitely with a healthy Breeze Super Bowl contenders. Right. I think even with a healthy Roethlisberger, we've seen that the Steelers were going to probably struggle.
Yes,
for most of the year. So you didn't really look at them as a threat in the AFC.
Right.
So I also believe that Mason Rudolph, while it's been a limited sample size, you have seen some positive signs from him.
Right.
As far as being the next guy up. Teddy Bridgewater doesn't really scare me. He still hasn't looked like the guy he did that one year with the Vikings.
Yeah,
when he made the Pro Bowl.
Yeah,
which is why I think they're going to try the two quarterback system. I really don't think it's going to be a true two quarterback system, but at least the thought is out there that Taysom Hill is going to take some snaps,
right,
and be Tim Tebow on steroids.
Hill can ball too. We've seen him come in during times for Breeze.
I mean, I guess my biggest issue, not even so much an issue, my biggest concern with Hill is he dealt with a lot of injuries in college.
Right.
So I'll be interested to see, how healthy he can stay when he is back there playing quarterback for a lot more snaps than he's used to.
Right.
I also think that the Saints, it'll be interesting to see how Michael Thomas adapts. He's one of the best wide receivers in the game, so we'll see how his numbers change. We'll see if they lean a little bit more on Alvin Kamara, which I know is hard to believe, but get him involved more in the passing game, try and take the pressure off of Teddy Bridgewater.
A lot more
so it'll be interesting. Yeah. You got to think that the Steelers giving up a first-round pick for Minkah Fitzpatrick Minkah is good, but you give up a first-round pick, if your quarterback now struggles and it turns into a top 5 pick, top 10 pick, you might be looking back saying, damn, we had a chance, to go and get the guy we want up next at quarterback, and we just traded that away to the Dolphins.
Yeah. And how then Miami would look like geniuses in making that trade.
We'll see. We still got to
I'm saying it's a possibility. Now, the picks from this week, Last week, we went in tied going into last week.
So you're up a game. If I'm
I'm up 2 games. It's 9-7.
9-7.
9 to
Okay.
7.
Still think you're point shaving, but I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Let's
9
get
to
into
7
this.
going into this week. So let's jump into it. First game, we both picked Jacksonville, and we both won.
No,
Yes, because Jacksonville won that game.
I picked Jacksonville.
Yeah, we both picked Jacksonville.
Damn.
Yeah. So, 1 o'clock games. Cincinnati at Buffalo. Buffalo is a -6 favorite. Who you got here?
Yo, you lying to the people, bro. Who you got? I put Tennessee. And
Oh,
you
we
said
both
Sam.
took Tennessee. My bad.
I
My
was
bad.
about to say, I know I didn't pick Jacksonville.
My
I mean, I
bad.
take the dub, but
We both lost then.
okay, sounds better.
Sorry about that,
Sounds worse,
guys.
but sounds truthful.
Yeah, my bad. That one's on me.
All right, so let's rip it.
All right, Buffalo and Cincinnati. Buffalo is a -6 favorite at home.
I'm gonna go Buffalo.
I've got Buffalo as well. I think Cincinnati still no AJ Green. Buffalo's been pretty hot, so I'm going to go with Buffalo. Now, second game, we've got Miami at Dallas. And this is one of the 2 games this week that the spread is ridiculous. 21-point spread for Dallas at home. And I'm taking Dallas here.
You're taking Dallas. All right, I'm going to take Miami on this one, man. I expect Dallas to run through them, but 21 points, I could just see Miami scoring a late BS touchdown and backdooring for me. I need the game anyway, and I just think 21 points, dude, that's a lot of points. I know Dallas is got stars all around. They're playing really well. But I have to think, as an NFL team, they made a switch to Josh Rosen. We'll see if that gives them any pep in their step. I still expect Dallas to put a whooping on them, but just 21 is too rich for my blood.
All right. Next one up is Denver at Green Bay. And Green Bay is a -7.5 favorite going into this one.
All right, I'm going Green Bay on this one. I just think that Joe Flacco's still struggling at quarterback. I think that Green Bay defense is no joke. They're holding their opponents, I know it's early, but to less than single digits on offense for the game. And I think Aaron Rodgers, with another week in the system, another week with his weapons, he's just going to get progressively better in that system. So I'm rolling with Green Bay.
Right. I'm going with Green Bay here as well. You know, you kind of said it best. I think Rodgers is getting more comfortable, and you're seeing the points and yards start racking up. So I'm going with Green Bay. Next up, we've got Atlanta at Indy, and Indy is a -2 favorite here. I'm going to take Atlanta. After last week, you know, you're seeing Julio get more comfortable.
Let's not talk about it. I feel you. Okay, keep going. I don't talk about it.
So I'm taking Atlanta.
I'm gonna take Atlanta too. I thought you might take Indy on this one, and I could get that game, but I think Atlanta is gonna make enough plays to win that game. I'm still not 100% sold on Jacoby Brissett, and right. I think Atlanta will find a way to squeeze that game out.
Next one for me, which I think it's going to be the game of the day, is
at 1 p.m. That's what I'm saying.
At 1 p.m., like, you should have been able to flex this into Sunday night. Like, I would much rather see this than Cleveland and the Rams.
LA. Yeah.
We got Baltimore at Kansas City. Kansas City is a -6.5 favorite on this one.
Yeah, I'm going Baltimore.
Ooh, all right.
I understand that Kansas City's offense is super explosive.
Right.
Who you going with first?
I'm going with KC. I'm taking
KC?
Kansas City. Yeah.
Listen, I totally get it. Patrick Mahomes is damn near unstoppable. I'm a big believer in that Ravens defense. Not that they're going to be able to fully stop Patrick Mahomes and all his and all his friends. But I do think the Ravens will be able to make it a little bit difficult on him, try and confuse him with some of the looks. I also think that the Chiefs are allowing 5.5 yards per carry
Per carry,
to
right?
teams on the ground. So I think between Lamar Jackson and Mark Ingram, they're going to cause headaches for that Chief
Right.
defense. And I think they're going to be able to implement a game plan in which they keep Patrick Mahomes on the sideline for as long as they possibly can.
Now
And
it's
I
going to
think,
be the first time they face a real good defense.
yeah, for sure.
So
So I
it's
just
gonna
think
be
that,
interesting to see how Lamar Jackson holds up against them.
yeah, for sure. But I still think Baltimore is going to be able to make that game a lot closer than the points indicate.
Right. All right. Next up, Oakland at Minnesota, and Minnesota's a -8 favorite.
I got Oakland in this one.
Okay, another one where we're different.
Yeah.
I've got Minnesota here.
Listen, I get it. And on paper, I want to say Minnesota. But how many times am I going to see Kirk Cousins choke away a game?
That's true. It's very
I
true.
know Delvin Cook is a stud. Um, I know they got weapons all over the place, but I think Oakland might be able to.
To squeak one out here.
Yeah, not even so much squeak one out, but I'll take the points. I still think the Vikings probably win that game, but you got to think at the end of the game if it's on Cousins' shoulders until he proves that he can actually win a game like that. I'm gonna just
Right.
roll with Oakland.
Got you. Next up, Jets at New England. New England is a -23 favorite.
I'm gonna just keep riding that wave. New
Yeah,
England.
I've got New England here too. I'm
Yeah,
going with them. You know, Jets on their third string
yeah, man.
practice
We ain't even
squad
gonna spend so
quarterback.
much time on that. I got New England. We're going past that. That's gonna be an easy dub.
All right, next up, Detroit at Philly. Philly's a -6.5. I'm taking
So
Philly here.
yeah, you taking Philly?
I'm taking Philly.
I wrestled with this one just because I feel like Wentz is missing a lot of his weapons. If they were fully healthy, that
Right.
6.5 would look good. But I can't watch the game and that's too close for me. So I'm gonna go with Philly too, even though that's probably more my heart than my brain. I wouldn't be surprised if it's within a field goal.
Right. Now, Carolina at Arizona. Carolina is a -3 favorite. Now,
I'm taking
without
Arizona.
you're taking Arizona. All right.
Yeah.
I'm going with Carolina here.
Okay.
I think no Cam, but you still got McCaffrey in that defense. And
Yeah, you do.
if it's defense versus defense, I'm taking Carolina over Arizona.
I just feel like Kyler Murray. I know it hasn't equated into wins,
Right.
but I do feel like he's starting to move the ball really well. He really understands that system.
Right.
I think they're going to be able to move the ball a little on Carolina, and I don't know, man. It'll be interesting to see. Carolina relies so much on what Cam Newton was able to do. I know he hasn't really done it this year.
Right.
I'm interested to see what the quarterback they're going to be starting is able to do.
Right. All right. We got the Giants at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's a -6.5 favorite. I'm taking
Yeah,
the Giants here.
I am too.
Nice. I
You
thought
put
I'd
me
get
down.
you with this one, but I think the
Nah,
Giants are
I
going to
just
play
don't.
for Jones.
Jameis Winston's a turnover machine. I just
Yeah.
don't trust Tampa Bay.
Same. Houston at the Chargers. Chargers are a -3 favorite. I'm taking Houston here.
Yeah, I am too. And the only reason I'm taking Houston here is the Chargers. Their two safeties are out. We knew Derwin James, but now you
Yeah.
got the other safety out. And I love me some Deshaun Watson. And I think DeAndre Hopkins' quiet game last week, he's going to want to step it up. Him and Casey Hayward's going to be a good battle.
Yeah.
But I'm taking Houston.
Same here. Next up, we've got Pittsburgh at San Francisco. San Francisco's a -6.5. I wrestled with this one, but I'm taking Pittsburgh.
Yep. Once again, we are in agreement. I thought maybe with Mason Rudolph there, you would kind of switch it up, but James Conner looks like he's going to be able to play. I think
Yeah.
Minka Fitzpatrick's going to be able to make an instant impact on that secondary. I know San Francisco had a great game last week against the Bagels, if I remember correctly, but
Right.
I just don't like the point spread in that one.
Yeah, same here. Next up, it's the last afternoon game. New Orleans at Seattle. Seattle is a -4 favorite.
Yeah, I'm taking Seattle.
Same here. I just think
I gotta see
no
them
Drew
do something.
Brees.
Drew Brees to believe it.
Yeah. Now, Sunday night game, Rams at Cleveland, and the Rams are a -3 favorite.
I think this is the statement win for Cleveland. I think if they're gonna have a big year, I think this is the win that they finally put the league on notice and say all that hype is justifiable. I know Baker Mayfield's been struggling, but we'll see if he can get it going.
Right.
I just feel like Cleveland, man, might be able to squeak this one out, and if they don't, I think it'll be within a field goal. I don't think the Rams are gonna. Jared Goff hasn't really been lighting the world on fire yet.
Right.
I know he has a lot of weapons, and that could change, with Sean McVay in an instant. But I do think Cleveland finds a way to pull this one out.
Yeah, I've wrestled with this one too, and I'm taking Cleveland as well. Their first, Sunday night football game in a long time, so big lights at home. I got a feeling they'll show out. And then to wrap it up, Monday night, Bears at Washington, and the Bears are a -4 favorite. I'm taking the Bears here. That defense is still rocking, and
Yeah.
Washington does not have any offense.
Nah, I'm gonna ride with you on that one too. I think the Bears' offense and Trubisky has to get going eventually if they want to be what they had their sights on as far as making a deep playoff run. So
Right.
we got a couple different games. It'll be good, man. Hopefully I can pick up a game or two.
It'll be interesting, man. We're looking forward to it. We know you got to go right now, so www.thesportsfrenzypodcast.com for everything to do with our pages, social media, all that good stuff. We will be keeping you guys up to date with the Jalen Ramsey info and anything that pops up, breaking news, so stay tuned to the Instagram page for that. And we will catch you guys next week. Peace.